and Trekkers. Welcome to this amazing Star Trek podcast on Trek Tuesday. I'm your host Orinda, and together with my lovely co-host Amanda Hopper, we recap every 2 weeks an episode of Star Trek, starting with Star Trek TNG. All the episodes will be recapped in chronicle following. We will approach each episode with humor and a feminine look. Today's recap is of the episode The Last Outpost. So let me introduce you again to my lovely co-host Amanda. Hello Amanda.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I am doing pretty good.
That's good to hear. So this time is the episode The Last Outpost. First reaction on it?
It was a really interesting episode. You get to meet a new alien race in this one. Known as, if I'm saying it right, the Ferengi.
Yeah,
the big-eared, sharp little teeth, little wild men. Yeah, wild.
Well, maybe more annoying. They had.
Yeah, they are a bit
Get the
annoying in this
blood
episode.
under my nails.
They act like little kids when they want something.
I think I remember, and I think you remind me on that too, is that one of the Ferengi, I think it was Quark, to be honest. He came back.
Armin Shimmerman. I think he played one of the Ferengis in this episode.
Yeah, and he came back as Quark because he wanted to put the Ferengi better on the map, if I can say it like that.
Yeah.
So this is a special mission for the Enterprise too, because no one knows really the Ferengi. And I think this is the first time we see the Ferengi, right? We didn't see them in TOS.
No, I don't think they were in the original series. No. This is it is the first time in this show to see them, but they do pop up from time to time.
So it is in one way nice to actually know them, although they are bloody annoying, but okay.
Yes, they are annoying.
You know what the worst part is, Amanda? My fiancé has been a Ferengi in his former life. He loved Umogs. He loves the Umogs, for God's sakes.
Umogs. Trying to figure out what that was. I forget what that is, the Umog.
You're forgetting what that is? That is
my brain don't think that well.
That's the massaging of the big ears.
Oh, they massage the ears and they oh.
Yeah.
It's more of a turn on for them.
And there was
really
in Enterprise was a very funny clip with T'Pol, who is charming the one of the, I think it was Blunt, the Ferengi Blunt, but I can't be sure. And she was charming him and giving him Umogs, and that was so funny. And she ended up using the Vulcan punch, neck punch. So he was out of the world.
I never saw that one yet, but I know there was one where Deanna's mother was manipulating one of the Ferengi.
Yeah. Wasn't that the episode that Diana Troy and Loxana were kidnapped by them?
Yeah. They were beamed aboard the ship and stripped naked. Well, they were naked when they arrived. That was weird.
And then that was funny too, when the away team beamed down to the planet and they saw Tashiya for the first time, and also in the function of the security chief, and she was fully clothed. Their reaction was priceless. Let's start at the beginning. The Enterprise, they want to make contact with the Ferengi ship, and they are chasing them, and finally they stop at a planet, and the Ferengi start firing because they didn't know what on stand, and they thought that the Enterprise were attacking them. And then all the power systems were failing. Also on the Enterprise, but also on the Ferengi ship.
The Ferengi. Yeah. It was like stuff was going haywire, basically.
Yeah, and they didn't know where it was coming from. The Enterprise thought that the Ferengi were doing it, and the Ferengi were thinking that the Enterprise were doing it.
Yeah, they thought they were hacking each other's system. And they were like, oh, wait, are you hacking my system? Are you hacking my system? They were like, they didn't have a clue what was going on.
No, and because they are so occupied with each other, they didn't notice that it is coming from the planet.
It's like, oh, is it? I can't. The Tkon, I think, the Emperor of the Tkon planet or something like that was. And it's like this bolt of, I think it was a bolt of lightning was holding it in place or something like that for both ships, draining their energy and stuff.
Yeah.
They couldn't do a thing because of that energy and all the. And when they went to the ready room to investigate this, Riker had to kick out some kids that were hanging around in there.
What I loved about that scene also was that, well, Data was briefing them about the situation and what the Ferengi was, and Data commented on like a Yankee traders, and I loved that quote.
It was also something with Chinese finger traps in that room.
Oh, that was so funny.
Yeah.
Especially when
he got his two fingers stuck, and Geordi basically had to rescue him from it, saying, my hero, or something like that.
But also, it's, yeah, like I said, he has been programmed to be super serious, and then he is super innocent and curious about human things, and then he played with like a Chinese finger puzzle, and he could be enjoying that for hours. Even Picard was
annoyed, just a bit annoyed by that.
Yeah, he was, but I think that's also because the situation on the ship and everything around it. Then they were on the bridge, and Picard needed answers from the engineering, and he couldn't get contact with it. So first he sent Geordi LaForge. Then once again he called for the engineering what's happening, and LaForge is not giving answers. So Riker went down, and with the talking and everything, Riker came up with a solution. And I think that was the first time we hear LaForge talking the techno bubble he always been known for.
Yeah.
And so in my note I say, LaForge is already the chief engineer. I must say I do love LaForge's techno bubble. And it's very funny but you still can see that they're still looking for what their places on the ship really is.
I was about to say, and Geordi basically is like the ship's engineer. Like he knows a lot of stuff. That man's like a genius at engineering.
Yeah, he is. And he is a very good follow-up on Scotty.
Scotty on the original series was the engineer of the ship, and he did like a really good job. And he's like, well, I forget what it was he said, but it was hilarious. He had all these quotes he had. Scotty did.
Yeah, and that's one thing I loved about Scotty. He is also a miracle worker, but I think LaForge is just really that techno nerd who knows everything about mechanics and, of course, the ship in one way. The solution Riker gave, and LaForge need to execute it. But the attempt to break free, what they had in mind, didn't work out.
Nope.
Yeah, they're still stuck, and they don't understand what's happening, and Data wanted to do something on his station, and then his station was really weird. It had a life of his own.
Like it was like an out of control screensaver going crazy, basically, like blue screen of death almost. Like it was just going nuts.
Yeah, but then I think that is the first real visual weird thing that they could say, okay, this is not what's supposed to be happening, what's going on. And then Picard contacted the Ferengi ship and he said, okay, we will do everything what you ask, but let our ship go because all the systems are being weird, and if it is going to be on life support, then we're screwed. So
Yeah, life support was being drained. Basically, everything was being drained on that ship from the energy thing that they think that the Ferengi did, but it really wasn't
yeah,
the Ferengi. They didn't know that at the time.
so Picard went to negotiate with the Ferengi. What was really amusing to me because they didn't know that they thought it was the other that were messing up with the systems, and so there was a misunderstanding with both of them, and they didn't know what to make out of it. And like always, the Ferengi starts with the rude comment about the ugliness of humans.
I know. Calling
Uh,
humans ugly. Okay.
okay, look at yourself, I would
And
say.
they're, yeah, you might want to think about that again, Ferengis. You got the big old ears, the teeth, like the snakely teeth. They were like vampire fangs, basically, and the, the little nose ridge there, but the ears. Oh my gosh, the makeup effects for the Ferengi were pretty good.
Yeah, it
Like it's
was,
really
and
cool how they made it all.
yeah, and I
Oh, and the
thought
little forehead, like the bumpy forehead.
that was really. I thought it was 2 years ago. The last time I went, no, the first time I went to Destination Star Trek, actors who played Nog and Quark went on stage and they got the Ferengi makeup up on stage so people could see how much work that was in as a makeup. And it was really, really nice to see how they transformed in the Ferengi. If you see the Ferengi in TNG and Deep Space Nine, it's, I don't want to say totally
Yeah,
different, but it is. There is a lot of difference in the Ferengi in TNG
yeah,
and Deep Space Nine.
like the makeup. Like the makeup effect looks a little different in DS9 compared to Next Generation. I think they have like eyeshadow going around the eyes for both of them. I think that's what part of the makeup was, a bit of eyeshadow, and they eyeshadowed between the ridges on the head too and the ears.
So that's very special too. When they did some scans, they came to the conclusion that that energy bolt came from the planet.
Yep, that's where it
And
came from.
yeah, but the planet didn't have no life forms.
No, it was devoid
And
of life. But where is the bolt coming from?
so, well, we already have spoken about, well, we just came in to the reading room and Data got stuck with the Chinese finger puzzles, and
Yeah,
LaForge and Riker didn't, they held their laugh, but they had to laugh about him, and there was an. Data was saying, okay, this is an odd functional impasse. And it was Captain Picard who liberated him from the Chinese finger puzzle.
yes. He's like, well, then get unstuck. And he's like, well, I can't. I'm stuck at an impasse here. And I think it was Jordy that says, my hero, and starts laughing along with, I think Riker did laugh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In the end,
And Picard's like, oh,
it is. And
yeah, like, there's a way to get out of those traps on your own. You just gotta push one finger in and hold it with your other hand, with the other finger trapped, and pull out. I've done it before.
isn't this also not like make it fun for children in the way of it's a little bit of scientific intelligence to play with this and get your fingers out.
It's like a distraction for some people, like, oh, what's this? And then stick their fingers in and be like, oh, and then try to figure a way out. It's like that's something that's like me. I'd be like that. I'd be like, oh, I see it, and I'd pick it up and play with it, and then get stuck and be like, uh-oh, how do I get out? And then I discover it.
They find out that there is some kind of a force field from the planet that hold the two ships. And so Picard proposed that they will have an agreement to work together, and the away team had to team us up with the Ferengi. So that was one funny thing about it too, that while Picard was talking to the Ferengi, Data was some kind of whispering about the Yankee traders to LaForge, and LaForge said, "Shh!" And then
I can hear you.
Yeah, the Ferengi already hear it.
No doubt.
No doubt with the big ears.
Yeah.
They didn't understand it, but it was funny. It was really funny.
The Ferengi's like, what is this Yankee traders you speak of? Is what he says.
They are always so.
And I think Geordi's like, Geordi's like, they can hear you. It's an excellent hearing they got.
LaForge, Riker, Data, and Tasha and Worf are beaming down to the planet, and it is not a normal beam down because they are scattered everywhere over the whole piece there.
Yes.
So, and Geordi was hanging in from a tree.
Yeah, no, it was a rock. It was from a rock formation. Yeah. His foot was stuck in there, and he was hung upside down, and Data had to help him. But Data was found standing on top of some crystal pillars. And Riker, I think he was on the ledge near a ledge-like thing, I think. And Worf, I think he was hiding behind somewhere when he popped out later. But Yars, when the other guys were knocked out, and the Ferengi were trying to do whatever, and when the guys came to, she finally comes out of hiding after they were all fighting with the Ferengi.
Yeah, we have to come back on a minute like that because that fight was super hilarious. So Riker went looking for the others, and then they come across the Ferengi, and the Ferengi have those electrical whips.
Oh, geez, those things, yeah. Electrical whips.
And I noticed, I didn't know if you noticed it too, but this is the first time they had those big phasers. Phaser number 2, not the small phasers, but they always take them with them.
Yeah.
The bigger ones.
Yeah, they originally had the large phasers, and they, throughout the series, they went down to like the slightly smaller ones.
So the Ferengis are attacking the away team, and so the whips are giving you an electrical shock in a way, and so they were unconscious. And the Ferengi came to them, and they steal their combat, and they thought it was gold. And meanwhile, Riker was the first one who woke up, and they so Riker told them, yeah, it is gold, but you have to give it back to us. And so the Ferengi said, I'm not going to give it back because I found it fair and square. Well, we know Ferengis.
They stole it.
Yeah. They always say, oh, we are this and we are that, but they are always 180 degrees the other way around. So we know already that they have stolen it.
They stole it. They didn't exactly find it.
I must say, it was a weird planet as well.
Yeah. All these like crystal tree formations everywhere. Lots of lightning everywhere.
No wonder that nobody is living there.
Yeah, all that lightning and crystal trees, it'd be kind of hard to live on there.
Once again, the Ferengi attacks them and of him and the other waking up and joining the fight. Now, well, we just said it. It was a hilarious fight. And did you see Data's face when he just picked a Ferengi up and the Ferengi screamed and Riker needed help and Data said, "Sir, do you need help or something?" That was so
I think
funny.
he's like, they're stronger than they look.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they're
because
bigger.
well, for an alien race that's like short, you think they wouldn't be that strong and powerful with their punches, but they were. I think Worf got jumped from behind. I think Riker got punched, and Data was holding one by the scruff of the collar, held him right up in the air, and made a grimace face saying, "Really?"
Yeah, and then Tasha came around.
Oh yeah,
And
Tasha.
then there was that crazy conversation with the Ferengis who were saying, "What? I can't believe a
A
female is
woman?
working and fully clothed."
Yeah, because in the Ferengi culture, the women don't work, and apparently they're naked all the time.
That's why I always liked Mookie. Mookie always was dressed, and she was a match for Quark, and I liked her a lot.
I can't remember, was Moogie his mother?
Yes,
Okay, Moogie was his mother. I was so confused there. Couldn't remember if it was his mother or who it was. She had attitude.
yeah, I liked her. But coming back to TNG because we
Okay.
are we're wandering off. Then there was a scene that the situation on the Enterprise was really dangerous, and
Yeah, that was bad.
it was cold. It was almost, well, they only had a few hours to live, and then that portal was on the planet. The Oracle who were
Of the Tkon Empire.
yeah, and Riker was the one who has to earn his way in, so both ship will be out of danger. So once again, Riker has to be the smart ass to solve this problem.
Yeah.
Have you noticed how many times Riker saved the day?
Oh yeah, Riker. He saved the day a lot. Like with this one, the guy said something to him. Something, I forget what the wording was, but it was something to do from the Sun Tzu's Art of War, I think it was. He said.
Yeah,
And the guy literally comes up swinging the blade and just lands the blade right next to his shoulder. Doesn't touch him with it. Just lands it right next to him. And Riker did not show any fear. He was like, just stood there, and while the blade just comes right by his ear and comes to rest near his shoulder.
Well, we have talked about the away team. Let's talk about the away team from the Ferengi. So we know already what the Ferengi are, right? But they also had that attitude and flair of, okay, we are big traders, we are thieves, but we don't know how you are, but we are the best, and you can't beat us.
They think they're all that, and they think they're better than the away team, but we all know the away team is better than those guys.
I do think this episode is the beginning of the Ferengis we really know. Well, when we have the scene back on the Enterprise and it was so dangerous situation, what I was surprised by was that Picard was asking about Wesley, where Wesley was.
Yeah, Wesley was in the quarters, his mom said.
Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't like children, and
yeah, that's true.
but I do think he has a weak spot for Wesley because of his father, but also what Wesley already know and can do. But that was surprising that Picard actually was asking about Wesley.
Yeah, that's true. He usually has this thing about kids, like he's not overly fond of kids, but of course he, like you said, he's because he led his father on a away team, more drawn to Wesley, I guess you could say, because he knew his father.
Yeah, and I think in one way, maybe he sees Jack in Wesley.
That's it.
But I do think Wesley is more smarter than the both of them.
Well, yeah, that kid's like a literal genius for his age.
Yeah, he is. He is. That's what when he appears for the first time in a Starfleet uniform, that was a moment of yes, finally. They finally going to take me serious.
Yeah, he's like a human version of Data in his smarts.
Yeah, you can say that. But you also see that when Data and Wesley interact, they are like friends in the same age in a way.
Yeah, because I think, remember, Wesley said something in a future episode that him and Data are basically the same chronological age.
Yeah, so Data learns from Wesley and Wesley learns from Data.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Wesley and Geordi are two of Data's best friends.
Yeah, because I think Data and Geordi hang around a lot, and Wesley usually hangs around with them both together quite a bit.
Yeah, and especially when it is about engineering.
Yeah, because that's where Wesley usually hangs around, is engineering with them, doing lessons and stuff, and learning.
So we going back to the planet again, and Tasha was wanted to shoot a shot between the legs of the Ferengi as a warning. But when she shot, it been redirected to the crystals.
Yeah. Yeah, when she shot her phaser, the phaser blast didn't go towards the Ferengis. It went towards the crystal tree-like thing, and so did the Ferengi's energy weapon. Theirs were directed back to the tree.
And you know how weird it was when the Ferengi attacked with the whip, is that their whips were like straight and harnessed it, that was really weird.
That weapon looked really weird. It's basically a thick whip.
So the energy on the planet is really spooky in a way. So the guardian of the Tkon Empire was there, and it was Riker who he was interested in learning what happened, and Riker was the one who told him that Tkon Empire doesn't exist anymore, and that the Guardian was asleep for a long time. But there was, I think it was the scene after the Guardian attacked Riker, and he stopped by the shoulder. Riker was saying a quote from one of the Chinese philosophers.
Sun Tzu, I think his name was. Sun Tzu from the Art of War, I think.
That was interesting that the Guardian was interested in the knowledge and the history of humans.
Yeah.
And then when the Guardian challenged Riker with a few of the sayings or whatever, the Ferengi came between them. And they start kissing asses to say, well, I knew that answer too. I whispered in his ear.
Yeah, he's like, I whispered the answer to him. Like, he's like trying to be a suck up and saying, no, no, no. No, I gave him the answer. I whispered it to him. Like, no, you little dude, you didn't do nothing. Riker knew it all along. Homeboy just trying to steal his clout.
Yeah, but that's so typical. That is so typical Ferengi.
Yeah.
Riker asked if the portal could release the Enterprise because the situation was dangerous and they need
Yeah.
all system back. And once again, the Ferengi came between them and started kissing ass again. Can you release us too? So the portal of the Guardian was in dubio because the Ferengi didn't deserve it.
No.
But Riker was the one who convinced the Guardian of saying, well, if you kill them now, they never learn.
No, they would never learn. That's true. Those guys.
And that's the I think, the nice thing in later seasons of TNG and Deep Space Nine. You see how much more involved and how much more wisdom the Ferengi have. And there is one brilliant episode in Deep Space Nine. Sorry, guys, I know we're talking TNG, but I really want to say this. This episode is very brilliant. It's called Quark's House. And Quark going to be married to a Klingon woman. Hello.
Oh, that episode.
And they want to fight him, etc., etc. But Quark convinced them, okay, let me see what happened. And he was the one who taught the Klingons that it's all in the assets and in the books and of trading and buying things, etc. And you can see that is one of the episodes that is really how you can see how changed the Ferengi are, because in the first time we see it in this episode, you can see that they are just stupid. And they have a big head, but that brains of them, I think it's more head than brains that they have.
Yeah, you think with a head like that they'd be smart, but no, not this episode. They were acting like little kids.
Basically. Yeah, I don't think it's not even little kids, but it is more like that's how they are. And I think a lot of people love the Ferengi, but there are also people who say, well, the Ferengi are so annoying that they are getting the blood on my nails off. So you hate him or you love him.
Yeah, because Luxana at one point she called him a little troll, I think.
Yeah, that was also a very nice episode. Life support and life on the Enterprise has been restored and is restoring at the nick of time, of course.
Oh yeah, very cutting it close they were.
But there is one question what I thought about that later on when I finished the whole episode and look over my notes. Why is Dr. Crusher on the bridge?
I don't know. Maybe she was checking up on Jean-Luc's vitals while they were on the bridge. I don't know. Could be the vital checking on him.
I don't know. It's just weird because you're thinking, okay, Chief Medical Officer, time is going to fly, but then she will stay in sickbay or be at least with Wesley.
Yeah.
And there was another thing what I noticed. Beverly Crusher called Picard
Jean-Luc.
That is the first time we hear her. Oh no, but that she is, and I got the feeling of, okay, they are friends, but there can also be a romantic fling, and you can see that in a lot of episodes that are still coming. There was always that little thing of, okay,
Yeah.
you're my chief medical officer, but I do like you and a little bit more than normal friends, but also you're Jack's wife.
Yeah. It's like, it looks like they kind of have a thing for each other in future episodes or something like that.
Yeah, indeed. And that was the weird, and there was one, I think it was a two part episode that Jean-Luc made those, was that in a light? Can't remember. That he made those time travel backflashes.
Oh, yeah, that episode. Yeah, I think it was a two-parter, I think.
And he was very old. He was on his vineyard, but also and that was so funny. And I think there was that one scene that they visit Data, and Data had gray hair, and but that I think that
great.
I think that was a little bit of a pre-part of what you see in Picard, in the series Picard, because every time when Picard visits Data, it's the same setting.
Yeah, it's always a room with a nice setting, like a really nice chair setting, like a living room.
Yeah, and it's just like the cottage. You see more there, and in one way it was, but you know the weird thing was in that episode, and if you see Data for the first time with the gray hair and being, he reminds me then of Sherlock Holmes when he plays Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, he had like a skunk stripe in his hair in that episode.
Yeah.
And all those cats.
Yeah, but that was also, I think they did it also because you remember that episode. I think that was one of the former episodes that Data have grow himself a beard because of Riker.
Yeah, he wanted to emulate Riker.
And poor Geordi, as a good friend, of course.
Yeah.
So the last thing about this episode is the scene of the end scene, and you see Riker smiling and grinning and saying, "Well, sir, can I have permission to send the Ferengi a box of Data's Chinese finger puzzles?"
Yeah. Yes, Picard then.
And then you see LaForge, and I thought also Riker had one playing with them. Like little kids.
Yeah, I think it was Geordi that had it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Data reaches across, see Data's hand reaches across and pushes the comm pad to get moving.
Geordi had put the coordinates in for the next travel point, and then but he couldn't push down to go to warp because he had his finger in the Chinese puzzle.
So Data reaches across, he does, and he's like, boop, gets him going.
So is there something else you'd like to add to this episode?
Not that I can think of. You don't really think of anything.
Okay, then we finish, of course, with Live Long and Prosper.
Oh, wait, what about the rating?
Oh, shoot, I forgot that. Thanks for reminding about that. Yeah, the rating.
At least I remember that.
The rating, do you want to start or shall I start?
I'll let you.
Okay, I give it an 8. It's a good written story, good written episode.
Oh, yeah, it was a really good episode. I'd give it around an 8.5 or something like that. Around that.
There was humor in it, but also...
there was a lot of humor and a bit of scariness when the ship was in the pull of the planet. like, were they going to survive? Were they not going to survive? What's going on? Type thing. So yeah, it was a good episode.
Yeah.
And what's next week's?
Next week is
not next week. The week after.
the week after. About in 2 weeks is the episode where no one has gone before.
Yes, I think that's a Wesley episode. I think. Him and the Traveler. I think, if I'm correct, that's the episode. I think.
I thought the Traveler comes later. But okay.
Oh, maybe it is later. I don't remember.
We will have to see it again.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it again. I thought that was with Wesley and the Traveler, but it might be a different episode.
I thought it was a different one, but okay. So,
yeah, well, I'll have to watch it again.
So, well, thank you again, Amanda, and I will talk to you in 2 weeks again. But
okay.
Hopefully, a nice episode again.
Yeah, I hope so too. Live long and prosper, guys and girls.
Live long and prosper. Dear listeners, thank you for listening and join us in 2 weeks for a new episode recap. In the next episode, we'll recap the episode where no one has gone before. Girls Talking Trek is also to listen, follow and subscribe on Anchor, Google Podcasts, Spotify, the Facebook group, and the YouTube channel. If you'd like to comment on this episode or talk with us about the Star Trek episode we just recapped, you can reach out on the Facebook group and the YouTube channel of Girls Talking Trek. We will see you in 2 weeks. Live long and prosper.